What's going on today, guys? It's your boy Zazo, and I'm back again for another video. So today we're going to be talking about how I let my coding skills slip away and give you some tips on how you can avoid this from happening or be aware if this is starting to happen and kind of what to do in order to basically keep those skills intact and stay fresh with your coding knowledge and your system design knowledge. Let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so first I have to kind of go back in order to go forward. So I got to tell you what happened to me and how I let my coding skills slip away and the things that I'm trying to do now in order to make things better for the future. All right, so we got to begin at the beginning of my professional career, I guess. 18, fresh out of high school, I got a job at a call center, and after that, there was a company that I really wanted to work for as a software engineer. They're not primarily a software company, so I initially got a job as a mail clerk just to get my foot in the door. And then after that, I went, because of my previous experience, I went to the call center job at that company, right? However, throughout this time, I was in school as well as coding. I had just started school and I was coding on the side after work, because I really wanted to get into a software engineering role. So fast forward a little bit of time, I actually got my first foot in the door to tech, which was a software quality assurance engineer. And that's where I first learned kind of what things could look like in a corporate setting or a corporate environment. So we were writing tests, writing automated tests, validating developers, fixes and that type of thing. If you don't know what a software quality assurance engineer does, you can always make a video. I don't know, I don't see that many on YouTube. Maybe it's just not my recommended, but I can make a video on kind of my role and what that was and what that consisted of. But essentially got that role, and I did that for many years, and that's where I really loved and kind of went into coding, and I really liked it actually. So my next step obviously was a software engineering role after that. Obviously there were two routes. I can go software engineering, or I could stay in the software quality assurance lane, but I wanted to become a developer, an engineer, and build features and that type of thing rather than just test them. So I apply for a software engineering role. I get it, and I get on this team where the product is very monotonous. I didn't know that at the time. I just, was ready to hit the ground running. But everything was kind of very structured, but very rigid there. And we were working on some kind of, essentially it was a metric calculation engine. So a lot of the time there were standard ways of fixing different things. It became to a point where I can almost foresee certain stuff happening, and then I would be able to fix it based on that and things I was going to be assigned in different little tasks, whatever it was. So that kind of broke my coding spirit at that time, because I was doing it on the job. I didn't do it outside of work at that point, right? Because I feel like I would be getting all the knowledge in my role and I don't have to do it outside. That is a big mistake. And that brings me to my first point. You should always be working on projects that you find interesting, even if you're working in software engineering, unless the job is just that interesting to you, right? If you just love the work that you're doing on a day-to-day and it's sharpening that knife, that coding skill and sharpening that knife, then you're fine. However, with corporate jobs and usually with bigger corporations, things tend or can get very, very essentially boring in the coding world. You'll be doing a lot of the same type of stuff. Unless you move teams, I guess that's an option. But the key important thing here is to focus on projects that you actually find interesting, whether that be in work, your 9 to 5, or that's actually outside of work, or you do a little bit of freelance side project stuff, whatever that may be. Make sure that you're focusing on projects that interest you, and you're always doing that, because that's what's going to keep you motivated to code, even though your 9 to 5 may be boring or whatever. You just got to keep the lights on type stuff. All right. So essentially I get this role. It's very boring. So in my mind, I'm very in my head sometimes. So I say coding and software engineering is not for me. I basically took a drastic approach and I said software engineering is not for me. Keep in mind, this company, their main product is not software either. So the company, as far as that goes, is already a little boring in a sense, because they're not necessarily the most innovative or whatever. All right. I need to switch career paths. So which career path did I think that I wanted? I essentially said, I'm a little bit technical, but I like the business side. Who says you can't do that in software engineering? I don't know. Wasn't going through my mind at the time. But I said, let me switch over to essentially a marketing area. So focusing on marketing data analytics specifically, I was like, perfect. Good way to kind of like get insights in order to grow business, this, that, and the other. Fast forward, I eventually apply and I get this role as a data analyst, right? So in this role, I thought I would be doing a lot more of using Python in order to build machine learning models, learning about different things like K-means clustering, all these different type of algorithms, model types and stuff like that, feature engineering. So I thought I would be doing a lot of that. Come to find out, it wasn't like that at all, which wasn't bad at first, and I didn't really realize it at first, right? Because I was so happy to get over there. So they use ETL tools, you know, the standard Tableau, Power BI, use stuff like, Salesforce, all of these type of marketing tools, right? And then we use ETL tools to kind of filter certain things of how we were doing. So there wasn't, I see any coding. Yeah, there wasn't any coding. Not really. But since I was so focused, once again, I said, I don't need to worry about coding because I'm doing stuff in my day job. Essentially go and do that job for a couple years. And I come back one day and I'm looking through jobs. I just get this overwhelming kind of doubt on myself, imposter syndrome. Anybody ever hear that? Came over my body and I'm looking at different roles, software engineering roles, whatever it may be, stuff that I know. And I said, if I applied for this job right now and I got an interview, no shot I could pass. Because I don't really remember this stuff. I don't remember it well enough to be able to speak to it, which was a moment where I had to definitely come to realize that I need to get back on my coding game, essentially. In this time, I became kind of a frameworker, as you would say. I got in the mindset of just building something, being able to kind of piece it together, little chat GPT here and there, boom, 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 in order to create solutions for my current role. And I realized that I kind of fell out of the actual art of coding and kind of that, simplistic yet really deep understanding of code, how it works, what I fell in love with, learning all the nooks and crannies of different, languages, frameworks, and kind of knowing what goes on behind the scenes. I kind of got away from that and I became more of a frameworker and kind of just started putting stuff together, which leads me to my second point is you can't cheat coding. Right? In order for you to actually be good, I'm not saying you can't build stuff with code quickly without knowing different parts of it, right? And that's not where I want to be. That's kind of where I was. And I want to get back to the art of coding and actually understanding these things and being able to help others kind of progress in this understanding, where nowadays we have a lot of people that are just popping up out of nowhere. They use a couple of different frameworks, libraries, some chat GPT, and boom, 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 they have a product, right? Without really understanding what's going on. And I noticed that skill of that underlying part of knowing what's actually going on has helped me this far in my career. But I've never been sharpening that knife. It's been what I previously have known and what I previously have worked on. So that's the whole reason why I also made this channel and kind of shifted the path of it, is because I myself am going to essentially not start from scratch, because I do have experience and I do kind of know a little bit about these different things, but I want to start from scratch and kind of help others learn the same things that I wish I would have kept learning. That's the whole reason for the shift of this channel. And I'm kind of going deeper into that. So my third thing is, right, that it's not for everybody. Software engineering, coding is not for everybody. And sometimes you have to realize that that's not the thing you're meant to do. Even though it may come with what you think is a high salary, it may come with a perfect work-life balance, remote work, all that kind of stuff. It looks glamorous, but it's not always true, one. And two, if you're gonna be doing that for a good portion of your time, it's gonna make you very unhappy if you don't love it. And that's the one thing that I always find myself coming back to. I always come back to coding, and I honestly think that is because I love it. I just have gotten so in the trying to cheat coding and trying to get from level 1 to level 100 in a day that I'm not appreciating the process of getting there. I have some of those skills, and I do, you know, remember some of that stuff, and these concepts are very important, but it's not as sharp as it used to be. And so that's kind of what this channel is for, that you guys can learn from my mistakes so you don't make them, and then also so I can get better and be held accountable. So if you like this video, go ahead and like the video, leave a comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. Love, peace, and chicken grease. I will see y'all in the next one. I'm out.